Okay, so today we are doing lesson 9-Dex. Great start. Okay, we'll start again. Today we're going to do lesson 9-6, factoring trinomials of the type ax squared plus bx plus c. So notice we're adding our a in front of the x squared. So let's just kind of start in. We know what we're going to be doing. We're going to be factoring a and factoring c and working them so that we get the proper b. So 2y squared plus 5y plus 2. Okay, so we're starting off pretty easy, which is a good thing. Factors of 2, 1, and 2. Factors of 2, 1, and 2. Now, we need to get a 5. So that means that I need to multiply the right things together. So here are my parentheses. I know that I have to have y in each one of these. Notice I'm leaving space here, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the 1 in. We don't need to do that, but just for today, I'm going to put this in. Here's the 2y, and then here's the 1y, okay? We always have to start with this. We see that we've got 2 positives, so we know that both parentheses are plus. Now we get down to this 2. So if I put a 1 here and a 2 here, let's see what happens there. So we're going to put a 1 here, we're going to put a 2 here, and we're going to go ahead, we're going to check this and then see if we need to make adjustments. I just want to have you see how it works. So FOIL, first is going to be 2y squared. Well, we pretty much knew that that was going to happen. Now, outside, 2y times 2 is plus 4y. And inside, 1 times 1y plus 1y. Notice I'm putting the 1's in. I normally would not. And then last, 1 times 2 is 2. In this case, I've put them in the right place. Now, if I had put the 2 here, then I would have only ended up with a total of 4 y's because I would have had 2 y's here. Well, no, I would have had, 2 y's here, and then I would have had my inside. This would have been 2. This would have been 2 times 1. That would have been 2 y's. This would have been 1 times 2. That would have been another 2 y's. So I would have only ended up with 4. I would not have the 5 that I needed. So combining this, we get the 2y squared plus 5y plus 2. Okay, so placement is important here. Let's go ahead and do another one. 6n squared minus 23n plus 7. Okay, so we're looking at this being negative and realizing that our parentheses are going to have to hold 2 negative signs here because, of course, a negative times a negative will create our positive c. Okay, so 6, we've got 1 and 6, and we've got 2 and 3, and 7 is just 1 and 7. Okay. In order to get 23, I know I need some big numbers here. So if I multiply 6 times this 7, I'll get 42. Okay, so I've gone way beyond what I need. So let's look at what happens when I use the 2 and the 3. Well, 2 times the 7 is 14, plus 3 times 1, and that's 14 plus 3, that's 17. That's not enough. 3 times 7, however, is 21, and 2 times 1 is 2, so 21 plus 2 is 23. That's going to get me what I want. So I know that I have to use the 2 and the 3 here, 3n, 2n. Okay, so this is the group I'm using here. Okay, and I know that my 3 has to multiply times my 7, and my 2 needs to multiply times my 1. Okay, so hopefully you're getting a sense of what we're doing here. So now for my check, Okay, 3 times 2, this becomes the 6n squared. Outside, 3n times minus 7 is minus 21n. Inside, minus 1 times 2n is minus 2n. And last is negative 1 times negative 7 is positive 7. Okay, when I combine my two terms here, I get 6n squared minus 23n plus 7, and it checks. Okay, let's just do one more of those. Oh, lordy, I have run out of paper on that pad. Life happens. Okay, so we're going to look at this one, and it's going to be 2y squared minus 5y plus 2. Again, I'm going to have negatives in both of these. I just kind of like to put things in when I'm ready to put them in, just so that I don't have to think about it. I've already done that. So 2 is going to be 1 and 2, and 2 is 1 and 2 again. Okay, so basically, this is a repeat of the very first one we did, only with negatives. So it's not really that exciting. We're looking at the same thing. But I'm not going to put the 1 in this time in front of the y. So I've got 2y and the regular y, and then I've got minus 1 and minus 2. It's just a repeat. When we multiply these, that's 2y squared. Outside, minus 4y. Inside, minus y. And last is positive 2. Adding these together, that gives me 2y squared minus 5y plus 2. Okay, hopefully you have a good idea of what's happening here. So I think that the more complex is going to be when we have the negative c. So now that is what we're going to work on. We're going to work on when c is negative. So 5d squared minus 14d, and this is going to be negative 3, minus 3. Okay, so easy enough with our factoring. We only have our options of 1 and 5 and 1 and 3. Oh, it appears that I did not have my factoring visible. Oh well, not the first time I'm going to make a mistake. Okay, so parentheses, setting it up. Knowing that because this is negative, I've got a positive parentheses and a negative parentheses. I know that one of these has to be 5d, and one of these is just d. Now I need to see how it all works together. I need 14, and I need it to be negative. Okay, so if I multiply 5 times 3, I'm going to get 15. Now, okay, I kind of jumped the gun. This is called not really that big, but this is kind of a big mistake. Okay, this is basic. Don't jump the gun. I kind of did. Okay, because I need to make sure that I'm putting everything in the right place. Okay, so it looks like luckily I'm going to be okay because I need to have my 3 to be negative. Okay, and that way when I put this together I have negative 15d, and then this will be a positive 1d. So I think we're going to be okay, but sometimes, you know, I go a little fast and I really should learn to slow down a little bit. So I'm going to put my 1 in here. So when I check this, this comes out to 5d squared. Outside is negative 15d. Inside is positive 1d. And then I have positive 1 times negative 3, which is negative 3. And when I combine these center terms, I do have 5d squared minus 14d minus 3. Okay, so crisis averted. Okay, I'm not ready to give myself a star yet, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, so let's do another one. And our next one is 2n squared plus n minus 3. Notice that my problems are really pretty simple. Yours will be a little bit more complex tomorrow and take just a little bit more thinking. But they're being very nice to Mrs. Basic right now because her thinking is, not always that great. Okay, so we have our parentheses. So I'm going to put 2n here and I'm going to put n here. It has to be that. So I know that my 2n needs to be, well, okay, so if I take 2n times a positive 3, I get a positive 6, but then 1 times 1 is not going to bring me to just a single n. So if I do 1 times 3, and it's positive, then I can do 2 times 1 negative, and that will net me 1n. So I need to do 2 times a positive, no, I had to do a 1n times the positive 3. So that means that my positive 3 has to be here, and my negative 1 has to be here. Honestly, you'll get used to it. So 2n times n, 2n squared. Outside is negative 2n. Inside is positive 3n. And my outside is a negative 3. Chances are you'll get this faster than I get it because you're all so bright. Okay, so the combination of the negative 2 and the positive 3 gives me a positive n left minus 3, and voila, we have done that. Okay, so let's look at one more problem before we go into our example 3. And in this case, we are going to have, our problem will be 20p squared minus 31p minus 9. Okay, so 1933. Over here, 120, 210, 4, 5. Okay, so a little bit more thinking, but we can do this. Okay, so we need a 31. So basically, here, 20 times 1 is 20. 1 times 9, we've got to have a positive and a negative. So these two really won't work together. I just don't think that was going to work at all. So let's see, 2 times 9 is 18. 9 is a 10. It's not good. That's not really working for me either. 10 times 9, that's 90. That's really not going to work. Let's look at the 210 with the 3, 3. 10 times 3 is 30. But then we'd be subtracting 2 times 3. Let's look at 4 times, let's look at 5 times, or 4 times 9. There we go. 4 times 9. You probably already saw this, and I'm struggling, but that's okay. 4 times 9 is 36. 5 times 1 is 5. And so 36 minus 5 is 31. So there is our combination. Okay. I need to have my, I'm going to put 4p here and a 5p here. My 4 times my 9 needs to be negative. So I'm going to put negative 9 here, and I'm going to put positive 1 here. Okay, now the exciting part is let's check it. 4p times 5p is 20p squared. And then outside is 4p times negative 9 is negative 36p. Inside is 1 times 5p plus 5p. And we're going to finish with a negative 9. Combine these two together. 20p squared minus 31p minus 9. Okay, so So there we have it. So we're looking at combinations of our factors and figuring it out. So the last part of this lesson is where we factor out a monomial first. You know, pretty much what you're looking for is if everything is an even number, there's something that you can pull out. So let's say we've got 2v squared minus 12v plus 10. You know, you really want to pull that 2 out, okay? So we're going to pull that 2 out, which will give us v squared minus 6v plus 5. Now we should be looking at a much easier binomial set to pull out. So I know that I'm going to have 2 here. I've got v and v. I've got a positive 5 and a negative here, so I've got 2 negatives, and basically we're just looking at one's a 5 and one's a 1, okay? So it makes it a very easy, you know, when you pull that monomial out. Let's go ahead and pull out another monomial. Let's look at 18k squared minus 12k minus 6. Okay, and let's go ahead and say, well, you know what? 6 is a factor of all 3. I'm going to pull that 6 out. Then I'll have my, and let's simplify it first before I do this. 3k squared, just going to tuck it in here. 2k minus 1. Okay, so I've got a 3k and just a k here, and I need to end up with a 2, so and I've just got 1 at the end, so I've got plus 1 and I've got minus 1, and you know, if you go ahead and multiply it all out, you'll see that everything does work out properly. So that's it. I think I deserve a star. What? Oh, yay, it's a star. Okay, and until next time. Thanks.